Hey, I'm Kristen, and this is my life. I'm making vlogs now to kind of help with a certain stigma that's been going on for years, and that's with depression and mental illness. So what I'm doing is I'm creating these vlogs to kind of show you what depression looks like, sounds like, feels like, kind of. So I'm going to record my good moments and my bad moments as much as possible. But be aware that depression is something that when you're feeling it, it's kind of what's the word? You're a little bit more self-conscious about it and you don't want other people to see it, but at the same time you do want people to see it. So it's a very contradictory thing. So I'm sure you'll see that. One of the biggest things I want to tell people is that depression isn't just always looking sad and just never smiling, anything like that. It's actually a lot more often people that you see smile the most, or joke the most, or things like that. People who help others more than normal people. Does that make sense? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make weekly videos and put it on YouTube. Back on YouTube, whatever you want to call it. With this one, however, this one is just gonna be this standalone thing, just because I've been trying to do this for about a month now, and each week, and I end up losing the courage by the end of the week. So if I put this up there now, it's up there. You can't take it down. Well, you can, but you know, people, at least one person's seen it at that point. So and if you ever have any questions, feel free to comment below and ask. One of the biggest things I'm trying to do is to make a community of people who want to understand or feel kind of alone, things like that. So, and I'm always open to questions. I will be as clear as I can with the answers, and maybe we can even do a Q&A at some point. So, okay, so I wanted to go ahead and include this, kind of start off the rhythm, I guess. Just because I know today it's been weird. I had a really decent day. Today I was actually feeling pretty good considering news I got like last week. So it was the first time in about a week that I felt kind of normal, and then just randomly at work, I was enjoying plays and things like that, reading them with the actors, and then just like a switch, just everything kind of shut down and just got really heavily depressed, and I couldn't even think of how to turn it off, even though there's a lot of things I've worked with my therapist on trying to figure out how to kind of change the mood and things like that, but it couldn't even think of the things we thought about, so that didn't quite help this time, but it has been last several times before this. This is just this recent time has been more difficult, I guess. And I'm starting to get kind of concerned just because last year is when I hit pretty much bottom, or very close to bottom anyways, probably not the bottom. And during the summer, it kind of started around the same time, and I don't know why it happened, it just did. And I couldn't get out of it the entire summer until about fall. So, and I seem to be following that pattern, so I'm a little concerned. And here's some of my thinking this is a time when I get pretty hard on myself. Oh, yeah, I'm a glowing angel apparently. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I thought of it as like a switch that just turned off. So I'm thinking, oh, I can find the switch and turn it back on. And if life were that easy, that would be amazing, but it's not. So, and then because it's not that easy, I got frustrated because it just started becoming this kind of bottomless pit. Everything was kind of crumbling beneath me, even though in reality it wasn't. So, this actually is kind of helping me, so you can kind of voice what I'm feeling. Okay, one of the biggest things with this is that depression is pretty much wanting to scream to get people to notice that there's something wrong with you and you need help, even if you're in therapy, but just for someone to care, pretty much. And I mean, even though logic and everything like that probably says that people care about you, it's just that's not, you don't feel like people do. So that's what happens. But at the same time, you're kind of muffling yourself because you don't want anyone to know. It's very contradictory, and it can be irritating. Not just to the people who have to deal with it, but to the people who are dealing with it themselves. So, and there's, I've got one friend who I talk to about pretty much everything, and there are quite a few things I hold back just because I feel like at a certain extent I become a burden, and so I stop talking and sharing things that I probably should be sharing. But I don't. My hair got really staticky. So, and that's one of the biggest problems that I have, is I constantly feel like a burden, so I don't want to talk about it. And then I always feel like when I share things, I'm oversharing, like I'm talking too much about something, so I stop talking. And that's kind of how I felt today. I reached for the phone to text somebody, to text the person I talk to usually about how I was feeling, but I was like, it's they don't want to hear about that, so I didn't text them. And that's pretty much what happens anytime I feel this way. So I'll keep you guys up to date with weekly progress, I guess, or decline depending on what happens. So it's negative. So yeah, I know it's not the best note to end on, but there's not always a good note to end on for these things. So alright, I will see you guys next week.